What the macronutrients are: proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. Okay, those are the three things that are the most damaged in our food supply in this country. And so that's really where the primary focus is going to be of this core plan that I'm going to teach you. So there's 3 rules to the core plan, all right? And they're simple. The first one we're going to talk about is fat. Because remember, the 3 things that we need to worry about the most: fat, carbohydrates, and proteins. Those are the macromolecules that are damaged the most in the standard American diet. So the first one is fat. The rule is we have to eliminate all damaged fat, replace it with healthy fat. Now notice, I didn't say we need to eliminate all fat, right? I didn't even say we need to cut down on our fat, right? Now is where I'm going to start to challenge you a little bit, because I'm willing to bet a lot of you have a lot of low-fat stuff in your refrigerator right now or on your shelves right now, and for years you've been looking for things that are low-calorie, low-fat. And I'm telling you, forget it. Forget it. It's not about the fat content, how much fat or how much calories is in that food that determines whether it's healthy or not, okay? What matters is it a damaged fat or is it a healthy fat? If it's a healthy fat, eat as much as you want. If it's a damaged fat, eliminate it entirely from your diet. And you might be sitting there thinking, well, what's a healthy fat and what's a damaged fat? We'll get to it, all right? But that's the first rule. So let's go back to our Mythbuster game. Mythbuster number 4, fat makes you fat. How many of us have believed that or thought that over the last 20, 30, 40, could even be more, because this really started in the 1960s, 1970s. So for those of us that have been around that long, you've probably believed that fat makes you fat since that time, right? Mm-hmm. We can admit it, right? I mean, it's okay, we were wrong. Well, let's do better now, because we can do better. Some of you might be thinking, well, I'm frustrated because I've been trying to do the best things I can my entire life, and now Dr. Sean's telling me those were all wrong. So why should I follow his plan? Because in 10 years somebody's going to tell me he's wrong, right? What I can tell you is that the best thing we have to go off of is the most current research in science that we have today. And understand that science and research is evolving. It's getting better and better. Science today and the technology that we use to do studies and research today is overwhelmingly better than it was in the 60s and 70s when this idea was born. Okay? So you have to trust science and research today and know that it's better today than it was 40, 50 years ago. Okay, so we can all admit we think fat makes you fat. Well, we want to bust that myth because that's not true. The truth is it's not the fat that makes you fat. It's your body's inability to burn fat that makes you fat. Okay? Let's let that sink in for a second. It's not the fat. It's not when you eat fat that makes you fat. Okay? You see a lot of people that are skinny that eat fat. It's not fat that makes them fat. It's your body's inability. It's not able to burn fat that makes you fat. And I don't mean to offend anybody when I use the term fat a lot, right? But that's what we're talking about. So we'll talk more about this. I'm going to talk to you about why your body might have the inability to burn fat and what we can do about that. Well, that's the first truth. The second truth is that healthy fat actually helps your body burn fat. How crazy is this idea? Dr. Sean's off his rocker. Now he's telling me if I eat fat, it'll actually help me burn fat. Yes, I am. If it's healthy fat, and we'll talk more about this as we go here, but I have to introduce one concept at a time. If you eat healthy fats, which I'll teach you what they are, they will actually help you burn fat. You guys are ready to walk out the door and call me a liar? So, true health occurs on a cellular level. So, I want to teach you a little bit about cells. Not to bore you, but to make you understand why fat, healthy fat, is so essential to your health, okay? So our body is made up of trillions of cells, all right? It's basically the smallest component we break the body down into. So lots of trillions of cells make up our body. All parts of us, our skin, our stomach, our liver, it's all made up of cells, okay? I want you to think of a cell, try to follow me now with my analogy. Think of a cell as a balloon. Okay? You have the cell, it's a balloon, and the rubber, the latex of the balloon is the cell wall. That's what contains everything that's inside the cell. And inside the cell you have a lot of fluid, a lot of it's water, but a lot of fluid. And then you have some different organelles, or think of it as parts, that make the cell run. Okay? And on the outside, you have what's called extracellular fluid. It's just the fluid that the cells sit in. It's not in the cell, it's just the fluid that's outside the cell. We all lost?
No.
Good. I try to keep this simple. So we have our cell, all right? That wall, the balloon that makes up the cell wall, guess what it's made out of? Can anybody guess? I just talked about how important they are. Fat. It's made up of fat. And that's why fat is so extremely important, the right fat. So we've got this balloon, this wall made up of fat, and the wall is responsible for allowing good things into the cell, like nutrients, preventing bad things from getting into the cell, like toxins, secondhand smoke for one. Let's just throw that one out there. Preventing that from getting in the cell. It's also responsible for allowing waste products in the cell to get out, okay? Because the waste products in your cell, it's just like this. Think of our bodies. When we eat food, we use up some of the food, some of it's waste, right? Comes out as feces. How good would you feel, how healthy would you be if your body was unable to get rid of the waste for a couple weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks? You were backed up, constipated. You wouldn't be feeling very good, right? And you probably wouldn't be very healthy because your body has to get rid of the waste. Same thing with your cells. Those little organelles, or those parts in there that work to make the cell healthy, they have waste products too, and they have to get rid of them. And a good cell wall will allow those out. So, the cell wall is responsible for the environment of your cell. The healthier your environment of your cell is, the healthier you are. Okay? You're made up of all your cells, trillions of cells. So the healthier your cell is, the healthier you are. Your cells will be healthier if you give them good, healthy fats. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on. Here's a picture, and I think the explanation makes more sense than looking at this complicated picture you'd see in a biology book in 7th grade, right? But I like pictures. When we look at this whole thing, that's a cell wall, all right? These little red dots with the blue legs to them, or whatever you want to think of it, that's a healthy fat, okay? All these red dots with the blue legs, healthy fats. Even cholesterol, which we haven't talked about yet, but we're going to get to. Look at this, there's cholesterol. That's an important part of the cell wall. Cholesterol is an important part. Healthy fats are an important part. All right, you're all with me. You all nodded your head. So let's keep trucking. So healthy fat is essential. This is why I don't want you to be on a no-fat diet or a low-fat diet. That's not healthy, okay? Healthy fat is essential. It builds cell membranes like we just talked about, but it does even more than that. It's important for absorbing vitamins. We have a certain group of vitamins that are fat-soluble vitamins. Vitamin A, D, E, and K are all fat-soluble, meaning they have to be in the presence of fat to be used by your body, okay? If there's no fat there, you're not going to be able to use vitamins A, D, E, and K. That's not good. We need those. It cushions your vital organs, adds some protection, some padding, protects you from extreme temperatures. It acts as an insulator. Okay, that's important. Your body has a temperature it wants to maintain itself at. Regulates and makes up the building blocks of hormones. This one right here. So fats make up hormones. Let me explain to you for a second what a hormone is. A hormone, simply put, it's a little chemical messenger. Think of it as like a ball that's made up in one area of your body. It could be your brain. Okay, let's keep it simple. Your brain makes up a hormone, and it wants to send a message somewhere in your body, maybe to your stomach, okay? Your body communicates this way. It'll send a hormone there telling it what it wants to do. Now, this isn't the only way your body communicates. It also communicates through the nervous system. But hormones, they're chemical messengers. They're very important for your body to be able to communicate with all the different parts, okay? Fat makes up hormones. You start to see why fat is important and it's essential. Fat lowers inflammation. We'll talk more about inflammation, but inflammation, one, it can cause pain, but even more importantly than that, inflammation is the underlying cause of some of the leading diseases in this country. Heart disease, stroke, cancer, diabetes, obesity, all of them have been linked to underlying inflammation in the body. So if healthy fat lowers inflammation, that would be a really good thing. Fat allows for proper cellular detoxification through the cell membrane. We talked about that, how it lets certain things out, keeps certain toxins from getting in. Makes up 70% of the brain tissue. How many of us want to be smarter? How many of us want to have a better memory? Right? Nobody wants Alzheimer's. Nobody wants dementia. We don't want to forget who our friends and family are. We don't want to forget about the experiences we've had in life, right? We do whatever we could to keep our brain strong. 70% of your brain is fat, and we're all trying to get rid of it. We're all trying to get rid of it. Go low fat, right? Not a good idea. We want the healthy fats. Fats in brain function. Again, fat in the brain surrounds the nerve cells, and it's critical for cell transmission. So it's not only the brain, but all of the nerves in our body. And I touched on the nervous system just a second ago. The nervous system is what controls the body. It helps send signals from the brain to the rest of the body, much like those chemical messengers the hormones do. It's another system our body uses. Fat surrounds the nerves and helps the signal move across the nerve, so that my brain can say, I'm going to wiggle my foot. And it happens because a nerve sends a signal down there, and the nerve was coated in fat, which helped the signal move fast. Okay? So, if fat is important for those things, it's important for brain function, do you think that it would be possible for us to put together a hypothesis, which is an idea, that if all we're feeding our kids and ourselves are bad fats, and we're not getting good fats, is it conceivable to think that maybe that's part of the reason that we have a growing number of children with ADD, with ADHD, these mental types of disorders, more and more young adults being diagnosed with depression, put on antidepressant medications, be diagnosed with bipolar, all the things, right? It's conceivable that because we're not giving our brain and nerves the nourishment they need with healthy fats, that's a huge cause for it, right? I think that's pretty conceivable. So healthy fats. I've been talking about these healthy fats, and you guys are just chomping at the bit. Tell me what a healthy fat is so I know what to be eating. Here's a list, okay? Here's a list of things that you can be eating or putting in the foods that you're eating that are healthy fats. The more of these you can get, the better, okay? Because they're healthy fats. And I've spent the last 15 minutes explaining to you why it's so important that you get these healthy fats. So hopefully you're not sitting there thinking, I don't want to eat these because there's fat in that. Or I didn't think I was supposed to eat this because there's fat in that. Okay? I'm trying to teach you that these are the things that have healthy fats. Okay? Olive oil, fish oils, hemp seed oil, flax oil, avocados, nuts, seeds, coconuts, real butter, raw is best. When I say that, anytime I talk about dairy, I'm going to tell you that dairy has some good health properties, but you have to be careful where your dairy is coming from. You don't want dairy that's been fed a bunch of antibiotics. You don't want them being pumped full of hormones. You don't want them eating the wrong foods because you're going to be eating whatever they ate. What they ate made up them, and what you eat's making up you. And you don't want it pasteurized, which is almost all the dairy that you find around here commercially. It's pasteurized. They heat it up. The problem with that is it kills a lot of the vitamins and the minerals and the nutrients, the healthy bacteria, the probiotics that's in there. It kills it. Activia. I love to bring a lawsuit against Activia. They advertise they've got these probiotics out there. The problem is Activia, if you look on it, it's going to say pasteurized in the ingredients, which means it was heated up and it killed off the probiotics. I mean, yeah, there's probiotics, but they're dead. Unless you could call them and ask them and say, did you pasteurize this and then add back probiotics? That's a possibility, which I don't know.